Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin. You guys can check out this show on wrestlingwithwrestling.com and StephenMikeShow.com, which will take you directly to SoundCloud.com/MCLarkin92. And joining me today, and people, I love what I do, interviewing people of all facets of life. This human being is a beautiful part of that industry. That is the adult industry. Miss Goddess Mia Sophia. Mia, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Finally glad that we got to do this, and it's a pleasure and a privilege. How are you?
Hello, thank you for having me on this show. I'm happy to be here. Excited that we found a time that works for both of us.
Oh, of course. I'll be honest with you, man. I've seen a lot of your work, which we will encompass in this show. You're a beautiful human being, and I look forward to having a fun conversation with you. You do a lot of great work.
Well, thank you. You seem like a people person, so I'm sure we'll have a blast.
Hey, man, I cannot complain being a people person. I think that's the great part of life is, you get to meet a lot of great, different, and unique people in this world. So, I mean, that's a blessing all in its own self, right?
Very true. I mean, that's one thing that I really love about the adult industry, too. I mean, you can easily meet so many people from every which way and get all sorts of new stories. So
Of
I'm
course.
very happy about what I do for work.
I mean, I think for me, like too, and I'm gonna say this right now, as a male from the male point of view, when you look at the adult entertainment industry, I've always viewed it as, you know what? Because people, obviously, there's naysayers, and it goes with every endeavor. But I also look at it like this: it's a form of art, and I've always used the comparison to Bob Ross's The Joy of Painting. Look at Bob Ross, and that 30 minutes when he would create like a mountain, a waterfall, bada bing, bada boom, the whole nine. You could tell he really loves what he does in making that artwork. Everything in its own right is a work of art, not just women as beings, but just overall with the adult entertainment industry. You have the scene, you have the spot, you have different fetishes, you have a lot of uniqueness to it. And I think that's what makes it the work of art that it is.
Very true. I agree. And I think where I fit into all of this is I'm really trying to create a place where people can explore their kinks. So, as you know, I'm more of a switch, which means I'm submissive and dominant. So, I've kind of been, exploring that unique side of me and kind of flip flopping between what people like in the dominant area and then what people like in the submissive area, too.
Isn't that kind of like how I'm going to say this right now, and this is why I love and respect women so much? Isn't that kind of just like ever since the beginning of time, women just like to be dominant and just be they have their submissive. That's what it is. There's a lot of dominant women out there. I think that's a prominent word for women in general, with the way everything is from sports, from the adult entertainment industry. Women are just kicking ass and taking names.
No, very true. And I'm happy to be one of them.
Ah, my goodness. And yes, Miss Mia, I got to ask you first and foremost, we're talking about the adult industry as a whole. I'm curious to find out your story, how you got into it, because we'll get into your films, but what made you want to get into such an industry? I mean, we've seen a lot of great work from the modeling aspect, the imagery of these said films, and we'll talk about the stuff that goes behind the scenes wise, but talk about getting into the industry because, again, you're a beautiful human being, you're a great fit. Talk about the overall thing that really encompassed you and wanted to get you into the adult entertainment industry.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a very, very humble beginning. I started out when I went to college. I started a blog with little squirrels, actually. I don't know if she went this far back, but we started a naughty Tumblr blog together. And then we started a Snapchat. So we became the premium Snapchat girls. And I mean, I've always been a people person. I love being social. I love talking to people. I also happen to love taking off my clothes for people, so it kind of fit well. Flash forward to 2018, I met up with Annabelle, the wonderful, glorious Annabelle, and she kind of really pushed me to explore the adult industry as something that could really be a passion and something that could really sustain me in not only my passions, but also in my entire life. So I started to kind of take the industry seriously then, started many videos after our films came out together and have been kind of building since then. Uh, Graduated college, finally did it
Woo!
just um, a few months ago in May. So that was exciting. And then I started to dabble, in okay, do I want to do this adult industry? Do I want to be my own boss, or do I want to kind of try out going the traditional route? tried the traditional route for a bit, didn't like it, decided, hey, I'd rather shove things in my ass than have to work 40 hours a week for someone who doesn't care about me beyond my productivity level. So I kind of just started to deep dive and figure out what I like, what I'm good at, and here I am.
See, I can actually relate to that, minus the part about shoving things up your ass, which I understand. Oh, here's why I love you. See, here's why I appreciate. No, this is why I appreciate you. The bluntness, because I love honesty. I love the rawness about you, and I truly respect that. Because I also look at it like this, because as someone who has worked in the market research field, and mind you, people, it has its pros, it has its cons. There's a good and bad in every job. But after a while, it's just like, you know what? Do I want to be stuck where I am, or do I want to explore new ventures, right? And I can understand what you're doing with the adult entertainment industry. This is why I want to get into podcasting, because I love giving people the platform, tell their stories, and there's an overall fun and aspect to it. And like you talk about being your own boss, there's that hashtag right there now going on talking about controlling your own narrative. So you wanted to control your narrative.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, like you said it before, I'm blunt. I don't like people telling me what to do. So, the adult industry really works out perfectly.
So if I can really pitch anything, and you know me, I'm a pop culture guy. I'm a nerd, and I'm in my own right. So I'm going to say this right now. You're kind of like the D. Schneider of the adult entertainment industry. You're like the twisted sister. You're not going to take it, so you're just going to do your own thing. Nobody can tell you what.
Exactly, exactly. And that's kind of who I've always been. So it's kind of, I have to give a little shout out to my fans. I mean, it blows my mind every day. I have people who come and they're like, oh, I found you from your Tumblr blog. I found you from Snapchat, and then you disappeared. And I'm so glad I found you again. And like, wow, you've come so far. So it's been really rewarding to, just kind of have my journey of cultivating this fan, cultivating my own business, my own brand. And yeah, like you saying, being a kick ass female boss bitch.
You're a boss ass bitch, bitch, bitch. Yes. I also look at it like this, because you were talking about, and I love little Squirtle. Little Squirtle, such a sweetheart. And I said this to her, and I'm gonna say this to you. You two have such great chemistry together, cutie beauties. Like you two really do have great chemistry together, and I truly mean that.
No, very true. And I mean, we went to high school together, we became best friends, and here we are together in, sort of co-workers from across the state. So it's been really rewarding too to kind of see her up and coming journey. I mean, she also started dabbling a long time ago like me, but I mean, you can see her, she's really built herself a brand and a whole little Squirtles kind of market and fan base. So I'm very proud of her and how far she has come in being a cutie pie little girl.
And I also look at it like too, like you were talking about like the naughty Tumblr thing, which I'll get to Tumblr and blogs in a second, but I just gotta say this because it's urgent at me. When you're talking about just being naked, I gotta say this right now. Nelly, when he wrote the classic, the iconic song Hot in Here, I mean, just take off all your clothes. That's kind of the embodiment of what you're saying right there, man. You just like to take off all your clothes, be free. Dare I say willy nilly, if you will, Miss Mia? Hey, hot in here.
Oh, willy nilly. You can say that. Yes, I will say I was a willy nilly 18, 19-year old kind of, figuring out myself.
Okay, now it's kind of like the days, and I remember going into New York City, and my mom was big into this, so we went to see Hair on Broadway. People, look at that movie and what that encompassed. You look at the days of like the hippie peace freaks and however you want to define it, but that was a classic movie, not just for its musical, but its overall freeness, the overall liberation. Not a lot of people wearing clothes, and you feel liberated, you feel good, you feel free.
Very true. I mean, that's the whole thing is being liberated. And I, went to school. I kind of have seen how capitalism and the marketplace take advantage of us. And I see, my fellow peers being young and they're struggling. And I just, feel so blessed to be able to, kind of skirt around that and create my own brand, my own industry, and have the adults, industry give me that sort of platform and freedom, because that's honestly what it ultimately is, being 23 and having the freedom to do what I want when I want, and, still have a fan base that supports me for, being me.
And I think that's what's great. People just have to be themselves. And I think that's a product of what we've seen over the years where it's like people try to mirror what they see. And I've always told people, and this is just me, because when you're young, you feel like you have to have that LOA. And what I mean about that LOA is you got to have that level of acceptance, right? You want to try to fit in so badly, but as you get older and as you get wiser, you just realize, you know what? I like me for who I am. And if you don't like me, screw you. Just do what you got to do. As long as you're happy, you have peace of mind and you have overall peace within yourself, I think that makes life worth having.
No, very true. And kind of talking about that, I mean, when I was starting to get into this industry, I was more submissive, and then I've been transitioning as I've gotten older and kind of more confident in myself and my abilities, to this dominant figure. And it's kind of fun to see that transition in myself because, I was thinking for a bit, should I just be full on Dami? Should I just go, goddess Mia, hit that hard? But I really talked to my fans and I was like, okay, what do you guys want? What do you guys know me for? And, they are really accepting of me being a switch, which is something that if you ask a lot of other dummies, they'll say no, like subs don't want to see your submissive sides. They don't want to see that. But I think it's really fun for me to be in this position of, one day I'm like busting balls and then the next day I'm tied up and I'm doing like a different kind of film and just going into that whole creative aspect. It's so fun and so, freeing to just be me and be the kind of switch and embody the kinks that I like. And then also, explore and figure out what everyone else likes me to be.
Of course. And I mean, I look at it like this. Like, I remember back in the day watching MTV True Life. Yes, I'm taking it back to MTV True Life. People
Oh
talk.
my gosh, you're dating
Yes.
yourself.
Hey, man, I'll be honest. I'm an appreciator. That's what I say. I'm an appreciator. Putting that word. No, it's one of those things like when you watch many documentaries, and a lot of people don't realize this, and this is why I appreciate the work that you do, whether it be from the Dom, the submissive aspect, or what have you. Both sides, it's very unique because I remember watching True Life, and they were talking about their lives being as a dominatrix and people very submissive in the dominant side of things. I mean, we see that it's very popular, and it's a lot of people's preference. And I think us as people, we're very unique. We all like our different tastes, and like you mentioned, there I say kinks. So I mean, I've always appreciated that side of things because it's great either way from artistic expression, how whether you're submissive or you're dominant, it makes for great content all in all.
Exactly. And I think that part of being submissive and dominant only gives me, a little edge because I know how the sub mind thinks, and I think I can really get in there and meddle with your mind if you're submissive, which is also, fun in games for me too. So, yeah, it's definitely fun to figure out where my niche is and to celebrate, the adult industry for what it is, and that is creating arts that people enjoy.
You know what it is too, and it's funny because like when you talk about submissive and stuff, a lot of people look at like the sadomasochistic, the SMM activity, and they look at things like the ball and gag, which is funny because the first time I ever, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this, but the first time no, I'm just thinking about it now because this is how stuff that you see in your childhood, and it's like whoa, because as you get older, you realize holy shit, and then you see like these things. Like the first time I remember seeing this, so for any wrestling fans out there was a tag team in the WWE called the Basham Brothers. And when they first came in, they were accompanied by a woman by the name of Shaniqua, and she dressed in all black, the leather. She had the dominatrix, the whip, you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
and they came out with the ball and gags, and legit, their finishing move as a tag team was the ball and gag. And I'm like, we're really doing sadistic stuff on WWE. Okay. So and it's very popular in society and today, and a lot of people don't realize this. Like, I mean, I grew up in the days where you had like Cat House the series on HBO, and I mean, and I've talked about this with Squirrels the last time, like when Spider Babe, when they started doing the porn parody films, and we've seen that back in the 80s, the 90s, what have you. But it's just like you have all these things at your your disposal, your tools at your hand just to see from TV, from websites, the whole nine. There's a lot really to explore within your mind and open up your horizons and broaden your horizons even.
No, very true. And that's kind of going back to you mentioning on S&M. So recently I added the Sophia to my name as a little tongue in cheek. So now I have an M to my S since I do very much enjoy the sadist masochist relationship too.
It's kind of like that scene in Basic Instinct where they're interrogating her. How about sadomasochistic activity? Like, geez, you know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, I do, and I truly do appreciate that. And I think you know what it is. A lot of people see this and they're like, you know what? Because there's people are different with their kinks and their uniqueness. Some people don't like that, and I think there's something for everybody. And I also look at it like this: when you look at like foot fetish and you look at different fetishes that are out there, it's very interesting to see what's popular and really what comes into people's minds and what they like. 'Cause some people like foot fetish, some people like this, some people like that. It could also incorporate into the sexual activity and overall sexual relations. Like there's something for everybody, and there's different things to explore from all different types of genres.
No, very true. And that's honestly what I love and why I try to brand myself as, kink friendly and open to all kinks, just because, like you're saying, there is something for everyone. I mean, one of like my most creative customs, I think I would say, is someone wanted me to talk in a Valley Girl accent the whole time and like base the whole video around that. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of like someone being just attracted to that voice. But so I've gotten like voice requests, I've gotten like specific articles of clothing that I have to wear, just like specific like tags. There is really something for everyone, and I just love that and love incorporating that creativity into my work and being like, okay, this is your kink, how can I best get into your mind and give you the kink and the video that like would best just make you go, oh.
Oh, I totally understand. And personally, first and foremost, I don't know if somebody was watching Clueless that day. What do they want to give you the old as if and whatever? You know what I'm saying? Do the accent. But no, I can appreciate that because again, a lot of people actually. I'm going to say this right now. There's something about that Valley Girl accent that gets people going. I mean, I can understand it from the voice request from somebody's voice, how people interpret, and articulate their words, because there's something to be said for that.
No, very true. And I mean, you hear, like London accents and that kind, and you're like, oh, British people are more sophisticated. And, it's so funny how accents, play into that and linguistics almost. So, yeah, it's just fun. I get so many different things and creative parts of my work that I can come across. I mean, I don't think there's any other job on this planet that incorporates so much that you just never expect. You never expect to be like, okay, now I got to research how to do this accent now for porn.
Well, and I think that's cool. And that really is just once more the uniqueness of it. And I mean, when you talk about DOMs and stuff, I mean, I'll be honest with you, the 13-year-old me is coming out because I remember when Eurotrip first came out, for those that remember the great Eurotrip, and Scotty doesn't know the whole nine there. Like when Eurotrip came out, there's that infamous scene where they go to Amsterdam, right? And then he goes into like the Dom thing, and the safe word is Flugenhagen, whatever it was. But everybody has that image of the dildo going right into his butt. And I'm just like, yeah. So it's one of those things where we've seen it in popular culture, and it also reflects into people in real everyday lives. And I mean, we see a lot of things like going back to the naughty blogs and stuff like that. For instance, like you could have people that from a blog aspect, from writing aspect, talking about sex, freely opening up about that, and people can relate to it from a writing scripture standpoint. But you could also do it from the imagery standpoint. I'm like, my God, look at this woman. She looks good. She looks hot. She looks beautiful. Dare I say, she looks good. Emphasis on the good. And it's something that really, floats the mind and really just like, oh my God, look at this site right here. Not only do we have the information standpoint, but we have the imagery standpoint right at our fingertips. And it shows a lot of beautiful people like yourself, Squirtles, and so many different varieties on there.
Very true. And I'll say, I think the imagery really has something, really adds and tantalizes the whole scene that you'll, play. So I really make sure to, add imagery and wear outfits and add special things to my backgrounds, just to make it that much more authentic. And I think that's really where films almost take life, is not only, being able to put a scene together just talking, but then also to get the imagery there and just that kind of encompassing of all these kinks and just different types of things that people like. And I mean, you referenced two different female Dommy clips that you still remember 10, 20 years later, and just that kind of like image of female domination, and then just like all of that is so memorable and so like sticks in people's mind too, which is something that's equally fun, is to create some kind of art that's just like, wow, like I will remember that going on.
Of course, and I mean, I'm sure besides True Life, there's been a lot of television shows that have incorporated like dominatrix and people that like that stuff in documentaries. Like I remember, like my mom was a big Miami Vice fan, and I love Miami Vice, man. Don Johnson was just the man, Sonny Crockett, right? There's one episode. Well, there's one episode of it where they like talk about like there's this guy that's like doing snuff films, and he actually something happened on the set where they actually got killed, and I'm like, Jesus, like they're incorporating youth because when you think of Miami Vice, okay, you think of drugs, you think of the cartels, you think of all this stuff, but then there's an episode on snuff, and it goes like, you know what I'm saying? You're just like, oh my God, we're really talking about this. So there's a lot of things where it's just like, geez, but I digress. It's one of those things where I look at it like this. Like I remember like the first time like an adult thing that really stuck into my mind because we're talking about memories and what really gets us going and really interests us from a that standpoint. One of the things that I remember as a kid, like the first thing I that drew me, like 13 years old, there was a site called Girls Hunting Girls, and it was the premise of it was just girls picking up girls in a van, and then bada boom, we go to the house and they have sex. Simplistic in its plot, but I mean, there's something about that just sticks with you, and then you just keep going forward and forward, and then you have people sites like Naughty America and so on and so forth that really just open up people and you see, like for instance, you talk about outerwear, like people love like dressing up as teachers and cheerleaders from the female's perspective because like for me and a lot of people like Britney Spears, like look at the Baby One More Time video, iconic imagery because look at her, she's a schoolgirl. And then you see people like a cheerleader aspect, like you look at Bring It On with Kirsten Dunst. Like there's a lot of things that guys like, girls as a cheerleader, teacher, the whole nine. So there's a lot of outfits to choose from when it comes to different, different variety.
Very true, very true. And that's also like the cool thing is there's some like you just know some images that you're going to portray yourself on film, it's going to give that immediate reaction and that immediate, like, okay, this is what the film's going to be about kind of thing. And that's one of the things I try to use, in marketing on many videos. Like I'll try to make a clippy little screen clip, to make the cover of the video. So then, someone who's just perusing, looking for naughty schoolgirls is going to know right off the bat, okay, this is naughty schoolgirls and it's going to be a little different because we're going to have this twist on it, that kind of thing for a
Oh,
little spin on the adult industry.
and it's great to have a little spin on it too, because I mean, I've seen your stuff. I mean, I've looked at your many vids from like you wore like office attire, teacher attire, sorority attire. Like, I love that. And you get to work with a lot of great people in those scenes. Like, each and every one of those films came out great. And I got to give you credit on that because I think each and every one were done very, very well.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I have recently embraced the office look, which is kind of silly, because I work from home and I don't really have to wear business professional attire every day. So it's kind of funny to, play dress up as an office lady working as a secretary or whatnot and have those outfits on for, the first 5 minutes or whatnot.
Of course, and I mean you've done a lot of great work with Ella Barnett and those sorority stuff like that, which is cool because I also look at it like this. When you think of sorority, like I remember when, okay, another iconic imagery here. When Anna Faris was in The House Bunny, and she was this Playboy model, and then she goes to this sorority and she's trying to help this sorority. They're very nerdy type sorority, but she helps them make them look cool, make them feel sexy, and empower themselves, right?
Yeah.
So you have that iconic imagery of Anna Faris, this beautiful former Playboy model in the film, and now she's a sorority mother like House Bunny. Like I appreciated that. I love the sorority aspect because a lot of guys can really take into liking the sorority aspect as well. And it's not just because there's a lot of horror films about sororities getting killed, but there's a lot of great stuff into that. And I really appreciate the stuff that you did with Ella, who also you have great chemistry with.
Yes, I recently worked with Ella Barnett, Disturbed Snow, and Presley Peach. They were all great, and it was kind of funny. So I'm 23, and I was the baby of the group. They were all a few years older than me, but I was directing sets. I was like, okay, girls, like we need a storyline. Like how can this like take shape and build into something that's not just four girls with a camera in a room and some dice, something that'll really captivate the audience. And I think it was great too so that was our first video that we filmed together. So you can kind of tell that we're a little nervous, but I think that added to the whole, sorority premise of, we got to get Ella ready for sorority initiation, which, is also fun since I just graduated college too, a little nod off to that.
Oh, and that's awesome, man. And I think what's great about it is too is the realism that you incorporate because anything that incorporates your real life and the overall realism, it really ties in the continuity, if you will. I mean, you got to incorporate that in all the content.
Exactly, very true. And, that's what's so fun for me. I think I can kind of rely on my personal life and my personal kinks because, yes, I am very kinky and I have, a lot of naughty thoughts. And so I can kind of rely on that in my own personal life to really enhance my films and add to that whole, premise of whatever I'm going for that day.
Oh man, goodness. And yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, like you're on the beach a lot. I'm just gonna say this right now, rivers and stuff. You love the no, I'm gonna say this, and I love it because again, going back to the imagery, like classic imagery of Chris Isaac's Wicked Game, where he's with the girl on the beach. It's a very sensual, it's a very awesome music video. Like, there's nothing wrong with girls on the beach doing what you did. I mean, I'm just saying, you're always in the water, you got the bikini going. I love that. Very free. This goes back to the willy-nilly and the overall liberation of you just, taking off all your clothes. I thought that was very cool.
Well, thank you. Yes, that was a film I just recently had. It was a custom video again. Most of the things I film are customs. But yeah, so again, kind of speaking about how life imitates art and art imitates life. So I graduated with a degree in sustainability and sustainable energy science. So I'm constantly surrounded by plants and nature. And it's always fun when I can, be able to film something in nature and kind of be creative and be a little outside of, or go on a little office field trip, if you will, and have that kind of different imagery. But it's so funny that you keep like referencing my films to different like imagery that you've noticed over the years, because for me it is more like willy-nilly, more just like, what can I do today? What'll be kind of fun, what'll entertain me, what'll make like me kind of horny and creative.
Well, I think that's awesome, and I mean, you know what it is? It's the little, dare I say, nuances that you see in the films. Yes, people, I'm using the word nuances because a lot of people don't see that. You know what it is? Everybody just sees, oh, it's just a girl running naked on the beach. No, it is not just a girl running naked on the beach. Look at the film. Look at the nuances. Look at how she is projecting herself. It's all about the body language too. The body language, and a lot of people just don't see that anymore. People just go, okay, and then we move on. No, let's actually if you're looking at a work of art, like look at Starry Night, Vincent Van Gogh, look at a freaking Picasso. Actually, look at it. When you say you're looking at it, are you really looking at something?
No, very true. And I think, yeah, that's I mean, I'm so humbled and blessed for you to just drop those amazing artists into the conversation as you're interviewing me, because, I am an artist at heart and they are definitely amazing and spectacular. And yeah, I think that's part of what I think I'm growing into as my films. I'm really trying to pop off and really trying to see, what is Goddess Mia? Who is she? What is she like doing? And it's been fun to, sit down and teach myself how to edit my videos together and kind of like think more of a storyline in the process. Because, going back to my humble beginnings and I was just on Snapchat, it would just be, me, nothing really crazy going on, just having fun by myself. And kind of going back to what you were saying about the subtleness, I think I kind of learned how to be subtle and teaser, but delicate and kind of entertaining just on Snapchat, because that was back before I used to show my face. So I kind of had to rely more on my body language and what my body was saying to convey what normal facial features do. So yeah, it's been kind of fun to come up and see how I've kind of built myself from my very beginning films on many videos. Some of them are still there where I'm just, not doing anything crazy. And then here I am where you're referencing my latest video. Let's see, what was it? Secret river riding, I think.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, it's been fun to, get these little nuances, get a storyline, kind of have references and kind of, you know, be more artistic in my, films.
So it's kind of like this, and yes, I'll date myself again because this is just showing my age, and I don't care, man. It's nostalgia. It's good stuff, and also I
It's
can relate
good.
to.
It's good.
Thank you. I can relate to stuff that's, that's going on now that a lot of people don't know. And I think that's what's great about this now because everybody looks at the term millennials and I look at it like this. There are people like myself, and I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be 29 next April, people. Like I appreciate life for what it is, but I could also, as someone who is older, you know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people like yourself, like you're 23 and you were talking about not showing your face. You got a beautiful face, me, and I'll say that to you right up front. You got a beautiful face. Like there's a lot of people that can learn a lot of stuff, which is new, and every day you learn something new, right?
Very true, very true. And, it's been fun too to kind of not take this serious until this year almost, just because, now I kind of am confident in who I am. And I've already built this fan base of, not showing my face and just relying on, my body and my voice. And now that I do show my face, it's been fun to see everything just like pop off and go crazy. And, just have this amazing platform being continuously built and built and more people finding me.
You know what it is, and I'll mention another thing with the nuance. It's the smile, man. You got a nice smile.
Well, thank you. I think I do get a lot of compliments on it, and I will say it cost my parents a pretty penny.
Oh, we're,
I I had the full workup done. First started off with teeth being pulled, then we went to the expander, retainer, braces. Whew. So yes, I'm very proud of my smile and happy that it's I think it really shows how genuine I am. I don't know. It gives the whole like girl next door vibe really a vibe.
hey, man. First and foremost, again, great. I mean, you talk about the retainer. We've all been there with the braces the whole time. So we've all been there. I understand. And yes, you are very genuine, which encompasses your overall being. But I also look at it like this too. Like you talk about the girl next door. There were three main females in the late 90s that were very prominent, and they were Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Mandy Moore. You can also add Jessica Simpson, so we'll make that four. But when you talk about the girl next door, like when people saw Mandy Moore when she first came out with "I'm Missing You Like Candy," like that girl next door image that she had, and she was 15 in that video, and a lot of people don't realize that she was 15 years old when she was in that music video. Like you look at that video, she's sweet, but then as we get towards like the early 2000s when she's talking about "In My Pocket," the whole nine, we see it as artists and musicians. People got to change, equate with the times and just really, just change their image a little bit, and that's a change of scenery, if you will.
Exactly. And that's the fun part of what I do. It's I'm not really tethered to any sort of brand that like some other, normal companies would be tethered to, and I can kind of, grow myself and grow how I want and how ever suits me best, especially because, I'm trying to make it known I'm a switch. So I'm not tethered to submissive, I'm not tethered to femdom. I am, creative and kinky and having fun.
And that's what it's all about. It's about having fun. And one thing I'll also mention, going back to the beach for a second, like I mentioned the Chris Isaac Wicked Game thing, but I remember for those who remember boy band O Town, who were from the Making the Band, the original Making the Band before P Diddy got involved, Bad Boy Records. You know where I'm going here, people. So it's one of so it's one of those things where like one of their music videos, and no, I'm not talking about Liquid Dreams, which was their first thing. And yes, we all had those liquid dreams, but I digress. So I'm talking about so I'm talking about their music video We Fit Together, right? The premise of that is they're on a boat, right? And you see them in the water, and they're also on the beach. We got that girl Palanima right by my side, and they got this beautiful girl in this red dress, and they're on the beach, and it's like, oh, like you want to be the members of O Town and just be with Palanima on the beach. You know what I'm saying? So that imagery of like, man. So I think a lot of people can also equate that to you, men. People want to be with some goddess Mia Sophia on the beach. On the beach, yes.
No, very true, very true. And, I'm excited to. So, a lot of the girls I want to collab with, they are in Florida, which, more
Yes.
beach vibes there. So, fingers crossed, after it's safe to travel, I will be, sipping a drink on a beach and eating pussy, the dream.
Hey, man. I was about to say, man, as soon as you said the beach and then, eating pussy in the dream, is that like sex on the beach? Come on, everybody, tonight. That's what you're saying? Get that sex on the beach? Yes. Okay. Sidebar for a second, because here's the thing. Here's the first time I ever heard techno. No, because you brought that. I love you for that. So, so the first time, Brian McKnight, obviously Brian McKnight, R&B, right? He does a lot of ballads, right? Obviously, of course. So Brian McKnight has a lot of R&B ballads, and one of his biggest hits was a song called "Anytime," right? This is before he was starting back at one. Yes. So he had the song Anytime, and the one of the techno versions of it is him just going, oh, and in the background. Look at Tamia when she had Stranger in My House. Nice ballad, right? Then there's a stranger in my house. You always got to add the. It adds that to it.
Exactly, just really emphasizes the point. Like we were saying, subtle. You knew it right away.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. By the way, put that on a t-shirt now. Eating pussy and living the dream. Marketing standpoint right there, man. Marketing standpoint.
There you go.
Yeah. By the way, okay, Miss Eating Pussy and shoving things up my ass. Let's talk about more that encompasses this, and that's why I love your bluntness as well. Because first and foremost, just going back to that part, and then we'll move on to some other topics. I had to talk about that because a lot of your films encompass shoving things up your ass, whether it be a dildo, what have you, as you put it so eloquently and bluntly. Like, there's one of those things where it's like, there's an art of that too, because a lot of people just like watching the solo videos, if you will, the POVs, the masturbation, what have not. So I think that's a lot of thing that's very popular as well, because yes, it is great to see the sexual relations and the overall sex that goes into said films, but a lot of people like the solo, the masturbation, and, what you have say shoving up the ass. So I mean, it really does tie into a lot of the stuff that you do and really encompasses your overall being and your brand.
Very true. Yeah, I can't stress it enough. Guys like butt. So, and it's kind of funny when I was little and what I'm saying little, when I was a baby sex worker and I was thinking, oh, like these girls are shoving things in their ass. I could never, like, no, like that's crazy. Like, and here I am 4 years later, just, like whatever. This is, I'm going to make it in this industry and I'm okay because butt stuff feels better than you think it would.
So, I mean, if a man like Sir Mix-a-Lot can talk about Baby Got Back, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding right there, you know? And I mean, there's a lot, and I'll be honest, okay? 1999, 2000, when Cisco was talking about that thong, the thong, 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 I mean, people,
Ooh, yeah.
hell yeah. So, but that's the thing, and I'll be honest with you, as a male, and I'll speak this from the male point of view, like, you know what it is about me? Like, I love women for who they are. And I've always said this because my mother and my grandmother, God rest their soul, are two of my biggest influences. And that's what's given me my love and respect towards women like yourself, Miss Mia. And I always look at it like this. I've always used the beauty, strength, and dominance term, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. I've always just appreciated women for that, their overall spirit and everything. And I really just love everything about women, but you cannot go wrong with the booty aspect. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of guys like booty. And you also look at it from the breast point of view. There's a lot of desirable traits on women, but you cannot go wrong, dare I say, to use a country term, the badonkadonk, if you will.
Honestly, it's the savior of all, like can't go wrong. And so, yeah, I guess you would say I have grown my inventory of anal videos very recently.
Hey, I mean, and that's a good thing. Keep producing that content, and I hope it gets a lot of sales with it, man, because you deserve it. You're putting in the work, literally and figuratively speaking. You go, girl.
Honestly, well, thank you, thank you.
You're very welcome. And another thing I got to mention is because you did mention the name Annabelle Rogers, and my God, such a beauty. Another one that's a cutie beauty, and another one that you have great chemistry with. I've always looked at Annabelle for such a beautiful human being that she is. Another one, like we were talking about the imagery standpoint, beautiful photos, and just overall, just gorgeous.
Yes, she is a beautiful, beautiful woman for sure. And yeah, she's definitely been one of my inspirations. I mean, when I first met her, and she was kind of farther along in her adult industry journey than I was at the time when we met. And she just kind of opened my eyes into that whole embracing this feminine dominance, telling men what to do, even though, if you meet her in real life, she's kind of like, I don't know, more, she reminds me of like my friends from high school, which is kind of fun for me since, like, I'm from Minnesota and she's from Minnesota. She's just like a nice Minnesota girl.
And from when I had her on the show, which again, such a pleasure, it's one of those things where you could tell, like yourself, very genuine and just very a fun, outgoing human being. And I've always looked at it like this when it comes to modeling or what have you. And me, again, going back to the appreciation for women, like I was never one of these guys. And here's what I hate about society, and this is the con of it. Like the body shaming and just the fat shaming, or however you want to describe the overall shaming aspect. I'm like, look, you look at modeling, right? The plus size models. Look at Ashley Graham. Look at Nia Jax, who is now in the WWE. You look at just models in general. Like I love Tyra Banks. I love Naomi Campbell. Like there's a lot of beautiful women from the modeling aspect, but you also got to look at it like this: women are beautiful for who they are. It shouldn't matter, the race, orientation, size, what have you. People all come in shapes and sizes. I know it's very cliche, but there's a lot of merit to that statement, you know?
Very true. And I mean, that's the fun part of filming with her, just because we are very similar. And I think personalities, like you say, we get along very well. And we have like a similar background, but her body shape, she's taller than me. And so I kind of feel like very small and like a midget compared to her sometimes when I film, just because, she is this big, feminine, dummy mommy.
I like how you put that. Yes, the Dami mommy. I like that. Yes, but it's very true. It's one of the things where you look at Annabelle and just her overall presence and her stature, and much like yourself, the presence and stature really does make up a lot of you guys for your chemistry, your vibe, and the whole nine. It really makes fun for great content as well. So yes, you hit it the nail on the head. The Dami mommy, and you're a Dom in your own right with what you're doing. So again, love it, love it, Miss Mia.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to kind of grow into this persona almost.
Now, I got to say this, and I have a couple final things I want to add, and I'm going to say this right now. The overture is here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome to. I'm glad we got to do this.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a pleasure for sure. And, I mean, I'd love to come back on the show for sure. I wouldn't miss a call from you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate that. Now, I'm going to say this, and I think what's great about getting into said industry, talk about just, anybody who wants to get into the industry, give them some advice. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say just, try to be yourself and kind of try to figure out where you want to fit in. Don't listen to what the older sex workers want to tell you, what box they want to put you in. I mean, you can build yourself and you can be whatever you want to be in the most cliche and sincere way possible. It just takes, hard work, and most of it is marketing. So, you got to put in the work, but listen to the people around you, use the resources. I think it wasn't until I started really connecting with the industry as a whole and people in the industry until I really started to, build a great fan base and a great, platform for myself.
Okay, first and foremost, beautifully said. And I just want to add, if anybody heard like a little noise there, my apologies. I had to get up and get some water because I was a little dry on that question. So the question was, advice to anybody that wants to get in the adult entertainment industry and do what Goddess Mia does. And I just want to say you said that beautifully. So thank you for that. And I think that's very also apparent because I mean, for people like yourself and people what I do and whatever endeavor, you want to inspire and encourage people. And I think what you just said really will send a lot of second sentiments and echoes to everybody, So truly I appreciate that you for saying that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy to say it now, but when I was back 18 trying to figure out what I wanted to do, went to college, tried that route, but I'm happiest when I'm able to be creative and produce art and be social and have a community, and the adult entertainment industry is that for me, and I love it. And I'm glad we met.
Oh, thank you, thank you. But yes, and I also want to say this as well. This is where I step back because we encompassed a lot today, from videos, from being a baby sex worker to doing some say la vie and not caring and just doing what you do in the adult entertainment industry. I really did enjoy this conversation. Now, this is where I step back. Ladies first, it's not just a Queen Latifah song, and it's not Chivalry's Not Dead, people. Hello. So for promote the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I always say that for social media wise, wherever people can follow you, go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, well, you can check out my naughty clips at goddessmiasophia.manyvideos.com. You can check out behind the scenes and get to know me a little more personally and see, all of the kinks that I do on my OnlyFans. OnlyFans / Just Your Goddess with 3 S's. My Twitter, I just changed it recently, so it's at God Mia Sophia. And I'll give a little pitch. So I have a new video coming out this Friday. It's with Ella Barnett, Snow, and Peach, and it's going to be really exciting. So Oh my gosh. So I gotta preface this. Peach is so cute and so amazing, but I fuck her so hard with a strap on that she squirts all over me. So if you want to see that video, it's coming out this Friday on my many videos.
By the way, shout out to Peach and and all the girls there. And I'm gonna say this right now: y'all are beautiful, y'all are amazing, and I can't wait to see that clip when it comes out. So it's that intense that it just squirt all over you.
It was very surprising for everyone in the room. So Ella was filming us, and Snow was is playing my girlfriend. And so it's kind of a premise of she finds me and Peach fucking. But yeah, it got so intense, and I guess, I'm not too bad with the strap on that she just literally coats me in squirt. And so it was very fun to film and surprising.
And this is where I also just want to mention really quickly the behind the scenes stuff of what we get to see from the films and the overall, and just the work that it goes into from lighting and the whole nine really just encaptures each and every film and each and everything that you do. So I got to give you much props as well from behind the scenes aspect.
Well, thank you, thank you. And yeah, I try to kind of show more of that side of me on my OnlyFans, so you can see my fuck ups, my strap on fun, and my submissive side, and all that.
And also, I'm just going to say this from a marketing standpoint, but before I have you give your final words. So, the god Mia Sophia, being a goddess that you are, you're a god. You know what I'm saying? Making them all bow down. Is that the deal? Is that the deal?
It is, but in a more humbling sense, it's that Goddess Mia Sophia is too big to fit on the Twitter ads.
Yeah, that is. But I also just wanted to make you royal because you're a queen doing the damn thing. I see you, Mia Sophia. I see you. So before we close this out, I know we got the plugs, we got everything encompassed in this conversation. So if you would please give any final words to your fans and your supporters that have been supporting you in day one, please acknowledge them as well. Go right ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for all your support. It's been a journey. It's been amazing. My custom videos are always open. I'm kink friendly and ready to get to know you. Is that a good enough plug?
Beautifully said, and that's what I love. And people sometimes, it doesn't matter the words, the length, the whole nine. That was good. That was really good. I love that. So you're a god, vertical horizon style, goddess Mia Sophia. My name is Mike Larkin. Thank you guys for listening to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. You could check this out on StephenMikeShow.com, SoundCloud.com/MCLarkin92, and Andre Corbeil's WrestlingWithWrestling.com on the Wrestling with Wrestling YouTube channel. Mia, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate your time. We will do this again. And once more, thank you and have a good night.
You as well. Thank you.